Hey everyone, I'm happy. Well, I don't know if happy is the right word for this, but 6 months of quarantine. For me, it's been a very happy time because I've done a lot of expanding of my life. I talked about this in other videos, how it's been a big adjustment, and at the same time, I've done a lot of learning and a lot of growing, and how it's a lot more preferable to having a summer where everything goes my way and there's nothing to be learned by it. Here in Washington, still, I'm in Missoula right now, but I'm a resident of Washington State. We closed down on March 19th, 2020. I distinctly remember that day because of how much confusion there was in looking for a place to quarantine. I used to live out of my car for many months out of the year because it was quite comfortable, actually. And I didn't seem to have a problem with that. Well, at least not until everything closed, right? My office closed down. The places I hang out, the libraries, they all closed down. And so I went onto Airbnb to look for a long-term stay. And I booked 2 weeks because it was we didn't expect it to go on so long. And I ended up being allowed to extend that at the same rate. And I got a good deal because I got a good deal to begin with because obviously this guy's running an Airbnb and he needed to fill that room. And then our governor said, well, you could extend your lease at the same rate until I think it was mid-June or something like that. So I ended up extending it for a couple of months, and then we opened the state borders. I mean, we never really enforced the state borders, but after we were allowed to leave, I took a trip to Lake Tahoe, which I felt pretty comfortable anyhow because I tested positive for the antibodies. Looking back at it, I probably caught COVID-19 when I was traveling in Taiwan back in November. And yeah, what should I talk about? I'll probably record myself sleeping again because last time I did it by accident the first time, but I got so many positive comments that on my live chat. People thought it was funny, and then I went to Google the idea of recording yourself sleep, and it was interesting. I'm a little saddened that we don't have a mission to Saturn. Jupiter and Saturn are in conjunction this year, and that's about the only time we have the technology to go to Saturn because we need to fly past Jupiter. But we missed our launch window. We should have launched 2 years ago, and we didn't. This December 21st, Jupiter and Saturn are going to be so close that hopefully I'll be able to zoom in. My camera does 40x magnification. I hope to catch Jupiter and Saturn in that same frame on the camera. I don't know if they're that close. Earlier this month, I got the Moon and Mars in the same frame. That was the first time I ever did that. But I probably will have to travel. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, fingers really crossed, that I can go to Taiwan by the end of the year. Because Taiwan is close enough to the equator that I could catch Jupiter and Saturn. They're going to be really close to the horizon because it will be right after sunset. What else is going on? I'm so glad to finally have this stuff. I didn't have it at the beginning of the quarantine in March. Didn't bother me so much, but it's still nice to have. Hydrogen peroxide was also pretty hard to come by at the beginning, as was chlorine bleach I ended up having to make. I don't know how to make hydrogen peroxide. It's a lot more complicated, but chlorine bleach is pretty easy to make at home. Uh, I do a lot of tutoring in chemistry, and I happen to have the right equipment to make chlorine bleach. I didn't have the bleach, but I had the equipment to make it. That's how funny it was. Uh, what else? I'll never forget the look on my roommate's face. He didn't believe I had made bleach, and my socks were falling apart. So I decided to bleach them to show him that it was actually bleach. And he was like, "No way!" He thought I was performing magic. I'll leave the window open. I'll leave a comment if there's something. Oh wow! I just uploaded a video 20 minutes ago, and it's already got 3 views. Okay, I'm gonna tell a few people that I'm on here to see if anybody is going to join. After we go back to our everyday routine, I learned from the quarantine that we can always use a little bit more observation. I've been making videos about this. I talked about how I observed how people who are healthy for their age, right? Who have a healthy body weight or who just look young for their age, habits they have in their everyday life that have nothing to do with health, right? But it makes me realize that good, healthy habits don't come in isolation, right? You can't eat well without having good social hygiene, if you will, right? Sometimes I see people who are angry about wearing masks. They're angry about social distancing. Oh, it's kind of funny. People who normally would have given people 3 or 4 feet of space, now you want them to give 6 feet of space. All of a sudden, oh my God, I want to shake everybody's hands. Right? Some people are just very defensive about that, probably because they're not the ones who thought of it. Right? I see so many people who behave like that. Like I said, I do tutoring, and I have problems with food allergies. Students come in with dusty foods over their hands, and they might not have wanted to eat in the first place, but as soon as they hear they can't eat in my classroom, all of a sudden it makes the food like 100 times more desirable. Some people just really, I don't know why, but when I observe people like that, they're generally not very healthy otherwise either. I mean, the habits don't come in isolation. It's kind of like people say this, the smoking bone is connected to the drinking bone, which is connected to the drug bone, which is connected to the unsafe sex bone, which is connected to the anti-mask bone, which is connected to the no social distancing bone. They all go together for some reason. I've never seen somebody have a bad habit in isolation. And it just goes to show that think holistically, right? To keep all your other bad habits and try to control your diet, you're not gonna. It's not gonna hold very well, right? All right. So I've been observing some of that. Um, I've been thinking about. See, one of the reasons I really love intermittent fasting. I'm recording this on September 13th, and I I'm 2 hours into a fast. I'm hoping to fast another 24 hours this time because it's the 6 month anniversary since we declared, and the WHO declared an emergency. One of the reasons I love intermittent fasting is that it forces me to reevaluate my habit. It's almost a nervous, reflexive habit of wanting to eat something, right, without even thinking about what I'm doing. Part of the reason I started live streaming, not the entire reason, but part of it was to keep tabs on my nervous habits. Right, when I have my camera up, it's hard for me to not dress properly. I definitely can't masturbate out here. Right, uh, when I'm even if I eat in front of you guys, I have to keep good hygiene. It forces me to be considerate about COVID related stuff, right? Not putting my fingers up my nose or covering my nose and mouth when I cough or sneeze, even though I don't have to, right? You guys are thousands of miles from me. But when I feel somebody's watching, it forces me to think about that, right? And definitely, I definitely do have habits like that. Um, I used to, believe it or not, before COVID-19, I didn't think about washing my hands so much. In the past, I used to only wash my hands if I got chemicals on them, right? If I were changing the oil in my car or putting lubricants on my bicycle, or if I were preparing food for somebody else, I have food allergies. I definitely need to wash stuff off if I come into contact. If I need to wash, I live with roommates. If I need to wash their dishes, then I'll definitely need to get the food ingredients off. Like I mentioned earlier, I teach chemistry. If I get those things on my hands, definitely. But I never really thought about washing my hands when I go to the bathroom or when I touch things in the garden until very recently. Because I have the mentality that viruses and bacteria can help your immune system, right? We need to eat good food to keep our immune system strong. Um, what else? Yeah. I hope somebody joins me. I really do. I wish I could share my screen here. I want to play a game of Connect 4 with you guys. I guess the next best thing I could do is to I don't have a Connect 4 board the right size. I'll have to do it on paper. Let me draw a Connect 4 board. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, let me stop my other simulations, otherwise the computer is going to be really slow. Okay. Unfortunately, I don't have a way to share screen, so I'm going to do the next best thing and play it on paper while I enter the moves onto the board. So I programmed the, oops, I missed two. It's 7x9 Connect 4 game where you drop your checkers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry, getting too excited here. Okay, we're going to drop checkers into a 7x9. So we're going to go in the middle. Let me enter that move on my program. One of these days, I'll probably record a video with the actual screen. So the computer is going to think for 10 seconds. Let me just make sure you guys can see. Okay, good. The computer goes here. Let's go here. Computer goes here. Oh, that was a bad move. Get here, obviously. That was a bad move. The computer thinks it's already winning by a huge margin. Oh, we gotta block one of these guys. How about here? Yeah, one thing that keeps motivating me to stay healthy during this time period is that I keep thinking back to I keep coming up with this idea that I wish I had this COVID experience when I was in my teens and 20s, because there are so many things I would have done differently had I known what it's like to go through one of these periods. And then I realized that when I think about that, I realize it's not too late, because I can keep my body young so that at the end of COVID, I could be like somebody who's 25, right? I keep coming back to that thought. And that's why I've been motivated to do intermittent fasting and other things to keep myself healthy, so that at the end of the pandemic, it will be like I'm 25 and I can do all the things that I wish I had done if I were 25 with the COVID wisdom, right? And we lose. All right. Unfortunately, I can't show you the screen because I don't have a way to share screen. I need to figure that out. The other thing I could do is get an external webcam. Obviously, I wonder if that would cause a problem though. If I pointed the webcam at my screen, that might cause a feedback loop of some sort. Okay, let's restart the other simulations. You know, it's funny. They say it takes 10,000 hours to become an expert at something. Some of my machine learning simulations, reinforcement learning, right? I run them continuously. Some of them have run 10,000 hours. How many days is that? Let's see. 10,000 divided by 24. Computers have the luxury of learning 24 hours a day. 460. Yeah, some of them have. Some of my machine learning algorithms have been learning for 10,000 hours. So they are officially an electronic expert at the games that they're playing, right? Some of them closer to 100,000 hours, actually. I hear on the news that somebody is a COVID-19 survivor. I think we all are, whether or not we catch COVID-19 or not, because at the end of this, there's going to be so much extra wisdom, right? I actually prefer well, I guess it's kind of misleading. I actually prefer to say I'm a COVID-19 graduate, right? I learned all these experiences, although some people use that term for the graduation class of this year, right? So that might be a little bit misleading. But I feel more like a COVID-19 graduate than a COVID-19 survivor, right? Um, to gain all this wisdom and to use this opportunity to change some of my lifestyle habits. And it has also allowed me to see the best and the worst of some people, right? Some people were using this as an opportunity to take advantage of vulnerable people. And there was some price gouging on Amazon. What else did I see? Yeah, unfortunately, I was hoping to do a marathon because the Boston Marathon, they were doing a virtual event. I didn't sign up for it, but I was going to put it on YouTube anyway. But we have the wildfires here in the West, and don't want to be out there running in the. I guess I could do it inside and just record, but I wouldn't know how many. We don't have a treadmill or anything. I wouldn't know how many miles that would be. And plus, I get bored with that easily. I need scenery to keep myself motivated to run 26 miles. All right, I'm gonna do some more programming, and I'll check back in a few to see if anybody has joined us. Oh, that's kind of sad. 26 minutes in and nobody. Um, One other thing I want to mention that COVID has helped me put into perspective. Um, I had a coworker last year who called in sick, and he and I are very close. He didn't tell everybody else why he called in sick, but he confided in me that he had a very bad breakup, and my heart sank when I heard that because the last thing I wanted, if I were breaking up, and I have broken up many times, including at the beginning of COVID, when I break up, the last thing I want to do is to cause even more delays uh, and trouble, right? Bad enough to lose one thing and then to fall behind at work or nobody likes it when a coworker calls in sick and you have to fill in for them, right? I don't one breakup is bad enough. Why two, right? And the other thing is that the way I like to see it, there's only so many breakups that can happen in a person's lifetime. The faster I check them off, the better, right? And yeah, it's a transition, but there are many transitions, right? There's going to be times when a family member passes away, or somebody breaks into your car, or you lose something, or your camera breaks, right? You don't have toilet paper. You just finished pooping and you realize there's no toilet paper, right? And it's a transition. None of those are fatal events, right? It's a transition. I see a breakup just like that, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm just seeing things differently. And yeah, all of those things I just mentioned hurt, right? It hurts when you poop and don't have toilet and realize you don't have toilet paper, right? But it doesn't warrant causing even more delays and trouble for yourself and other people. I'm going to turn off the fireplace. Give me a second. Yeah, so this is what I plan to use when I view Jupiter and Saturn in conjunction. What I really like is this thing folds out. So if you're viewing something that's like almost directly overhead, and you have this on a tripod, right? You can view where and you can adjust. It almost feels like you're flying in space, right? You have this zoomed all the way to the moon, and obviously here in Missoula or in Seattle, there's no way the moon is directly overhead since we are at much more than 23 degrees latitude. Right? You got to be within the two tropics. That's why I hope to go to Taiwan later this year during the conjunction. My mom got me so frustrated the other day when I was talking to her on the phone. I talked about this in my last video. I needed to tell her something, and it was literally 30 seconds long what I needed to say, but she wouldn't let me finish. And we ended up spending 10 minutes shouting into the phone, and I still didn't get to say what I needed to say. And so I wrote it in an email. And after I composed the email and I spoke it out just to practice saying it, I realized it would have taken 30 seconds, and we wasted 10 minutes. And so earlier today, I was out on my walk. I was drinking a bottle of tea, just like this bottle. And after I finished the bottle, I was crossing the street, and the thought of my mom interrupting me just kept coming back to my mind. And I got so frustrated. I angrily threw the empty bottle onto the street, and I picked it up and I threw it again until the bottle was all bent out of shape, just to vent that anger. Because I don't know why I kept the sentences that my mom was using to interrupt, it kept coming back to my mind. I couldn't get it out of my head, and that's how frustrating it was. I still can't get that conversation out of my head. Last night, I dreamt that I had another conversation like that with my mom, and during the day, it keeps flashing back at me for some reason. Really frustrating. Really frustrating. I wish real life came like with a mute button, just like Zoom, so I can finish, because sometimes some of these concepts are almost impossible to pick up from the middle of them. Once somebody interrupts, you almost have to start over. The whole concept has a flow to it. And then some people don't have the patience because they think you keep repeating yourself. Yeah, because you don't let me finish it. And so, really frustrating. Really frustrating. And I still can't get it out of my head. That's why I'm screaming at you guys right now, because I can't get it out of my head. Ah. You know, one thing I thought about that I might try, gotta emphasize might, because I'm not sure if this is exactly safe, but it will bring a lot of psychological benefits. When I was working on my PhD many years ago, I had a period of time a good 6 months when I didn't go on any dates. And it really helped me reset my relationship. I wouldn't be desperate when I did date. And I want to do the same thing with food. Unfortunately, it's not safe to fast 6 months. So, what I'm thinking of doing is to come up with a very short list of staple foods and eat only those foods for a number of months, 3 months, 4 months, and then gradually reintroduce the other foods to kind of normalize my relationship with every food that I have a tendency to overeat. Uh, Obviously, the shorter that list, the better, but I'm not sure how short I can make it. Uh, I'm seriously thinking about that because after I took 6 months away from dating, I became very selective with how I date. And unfortunately, I haven't been able to realize the same kind of benefit with food, even though I do these intermittent fasts, right? Because I'm still interacting with food at least a few times every week, right? So the next best thing I could do is to swear off various foods for months like that, right? It might get tricky though if I have social situations and I'm only eating three foods, right? I'm thinking, I was thinking about how short I could make that list. I was thinking pick some kind of fish, right? Because I'll need my protein and omega 3 acids, maybe salmon and bananas and brown rice, right? I wonder if I could live on those three. If I swear off everything else except for three foods for a number of months, I might stop craving the other foods, and then I can reintroduce them, and then have a healthy relationship with the other foods, right? I don't know. I'll have to think about that. Uh, but how many times have I done intermittent fasting this year? I did one for Lent. That was my big, infamous one, if you will, right? Let me jot this down because I want to recount everything. I did one for the Fukushima 9-year anniversary, right? I did one at the beginning of the COVID lockdowns, right? That was March. What did I do? Another one for Easter Sunday, right? Because even though Donald Trump promised that we could go back to the church, we couldn't. What else did I do? That was April. Did I do any of the? No, uh, June 4th for Alicia Janazi's birthday, right? And then I did one on June 11 and 12 because I had an anniversary. June 11th, for the first time in my life, a girl started a conversation with me on her own. June 13th, I had just broken up with another girl and I had a good time by myself. So I was hoping to do a 3-day fast. I ended up going 2 days, which is not bad. I did one for July 4th, right? Did I do anything in between that? Oh, I did one for Juneteenth because this is the first time I ever heard of that holiday. And then I did one for July 4th. And then I did one for, did I do anything else for July? No. And then August 7th because of Bon Jovi. And then August 15th in memory of the gold standard and the Nixon shock. What did I do? Oh, August 25th for George Floyd. his 3-month anniversary. I did one on September 1st because of Green Day. Will wake me up when September ends, right? He was singing a song for his father had passed away. And then, oh, of course, September 11th, which I ended up doing for 29.96 minutes, right? And then hopefully today for the 6-month anniversary of the COVID emergency, right? How many fasts did I do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And then a bunch of little ones I didn't even count, right? Uh, I'm pleased that I did all these fasts. Yeah, I'm trying to think, because part of the motivation behind the fasting was that I read that there are more people who were feeding themselves to death than were starving to death. And it's bad enough that, okay, if you feed yourself to death, you can claim that those people deserved it, right? But those people are depriving the people who are starving to death, right? And I didn't want to feel guilty for that. And so let's just suppose every time I did one of these 24 plus hour fasts that I saved 2,000 calories, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 28,000 calories that I didn't consume. And for a starving child, let's see, if we divide that by 3,500, because that's how many calories are in a pound of body fat, right? And you look at some of these children who could use a few extra pounds of fat, is 8 pounds, 8 pounds. So I saved a child who was 8 pounds underweight, right? Somewhere around the world, right? Not bad. I don't seem to have. I don't think I lost 8 pounds from all these fasts. So I wonder where I made up those calories from, right? Probably because during those fasts I was completely useless, right? It's not like I went out to run a marathon. Well, actually, I did. Some of these fasts I was pretty active. July 4th, I went out to view a lunar eclipse. During the Juneteenth, I went to the Chaz, the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, where they were protesting. Easter Sunday, I remember going out for a walk. During the Fukushima fast, I was actually on the road, if I remember correctly. 9/11 fast, I was pretty active. You guys saw me. August 7th. I don't know. I should have lost 8 pounds. Actually, some of these were multi-day fasts, right? I should have lost a lot more than 8 pounds. I wonder where all that calorie deficit went, right? Anyway, maybe this is not the best. I'm going to stop this video and then I'm going to start over when I go to sleep so I can have one video just dedicated to sleep. Let's see, how do I even stop this? Oh, right here.